Hi, this is Saamiya Zulfiqar and you're watching Social Sciences. Today we are going to see that how sociological analysis help us to understand both terms sex and gender. Sex refers to the biological distinction between females and males. From a biological point of view, sex is the way that human species reproduces. A female ovum and a male sperm, each containing 23 matching chromosomes, combine to form an embryo. To one of these pairs of chromosomes, one determines the child's sex. The mother contributes an X chromosome and the father contributes either an X or Y chromosome, and which means that it is the father which contributes to the sex of the embryo. And the child's sex is thereby determined biologically at the moment of conception. Whereas if we talk about gender is an element of culture, and it refers to the personal traits and patterns of behavior, including responsibilities, opportunities, and privileges that a culture attaches to being female or male. Now we are going to define certain terminologies related to this topic. How we think and behave as females and males is not engraved in stone by biology, but rather it is the result of how society expects us to think and behave based on what sex we are. As we grow up, we learn these expectations as we develop our gender identity or our beliefs about ourselves as females or males. These expectations are called femininity and masculinity. Femininity refers to the cultural expectations we have of girls and women, while masculinity refers to the expectations we have for boys and men. So in the end, if we talk about sexual orientation, it refers to the personal preferences for sexual relationship with individuals of other sex, either go for heterosexuality or homosexuality, or bisexuality as well. Our traditional notions of men and women indicates that we think both are fundamentally different from each other. In effect, we think of them as two sides of the same coins of being human. What we traditionally mean by woman, we ascribe different qualities to woman: gentle, sensitive, nurturing, delicate, graceful, cooperative, dependent, emotional, passive, and weak. Thus, when we say that a girl or a woman is very feminine, we have some combination of these traits, usually the positive ones in mind. She is soft, she is pretty. Our society traditionally ascribes different qualities to men as well. That is strong, assertive, brave, active, independent, intelligent, competitive, intensive, insensitive, unemotional, and aggressive. When we say that a boy or man is very masculine, we have some combination of these traits in mind. He is tough, he is strong, he is assertive. These ideas make it clear that both of these are different from each other. But the question is why? Both of these genders have different behavioral patterns. Is it biology that affects their behavior? Or is it nurture or socialization that is playing its role in creating clear difference between both genders? So here we're going to answer these questions as sociologists and anthropologists come up with different theories. But let us take the common view about gentleness of women, that is, women bear children, therefore they are more gentle and sympathetic and better in nurturing children than men. Many people think this means women are therefore much better suited than men to take care of children once they are born, and that the family might be harmed if mothers work outside the home or if fathers are the primary caretakers. This idea will further lead to another question, that is to check either it is biological differences that create divide between both sexes, or is it culture that is playing its role in creating these differences by giving hegemonic edge to one gender on another. To understand this, we will discuss both biological and cultural aspects of gender. Let's turn to the biological evidence for behavioral and other differences between the sexes. Several biological explanations for gender roles exist, and we discuss two of the most important ones here in this video. One explanation is from the related field of sociobiology and evolutionary psychology and argues about the evolutionary basis for traditional gender roles. Scholars believe that in prehistoric societies, few social roles existed. Men used to hunt because they are more powerful than women, and women were primary caretakers of the children. Because of this duty, they are bound to do their domestic lives. Evolutionary reasons also explain why men are more violent than women. In prehistoric times, men, in order to get access to female mates, involved themselves in violent competition by competing with another person or by committing violence against each other. Therefore, it can be said that violent genes transferred from one generation to another to ensure their survival. But here we have critics who challenge the evolutionary explanation on several grounds, as they believe much greater gender variation in behavior and attitudes existed in prehistoric times than the evolutionary explanation assumes. And if we consider biology to create differences in gender, then in modern times it is totally irrelevant, because now physical strength is not necessary for survival. Evolutionary thinkers are also criticized that they implicitly justify existing gender inequalities by implying the need to confine women and men to their traditional roles. A second biological explanation for traditional gender roles centers on hormones and specifically on testosterone, the so-called male hormone. Presence of testosterone in males are considered as responsible for the level of aggression in men. Women lack it, therefore they are more gentle than men. To conclude this debate, we can say that the interpretation of biological evidence remains very controversial. That's why we are turning to another perspective that will help us in understanding gender better. Anthropologists, while working on pre-industrial societies, demonstrate some striking gender variations from one culture to another. This variation highlights the impact of culture on how females and males think and behave. Margaret Mead and George Murdoch, through their researches, come up with the idea that it is the culture that shapes gender roles. Socialization helps individuals to learn gender roles. As we already discussed about the process of socialization, that generally refers to the process in which people learn the skills, knowledge, values, motives, and roles of the groups to which they belong or the communities in which they live. So we can say that socialization is seen as society's principal mechanism for influencing the development of character and behavior. People belonging to different cultures have different ideals for masculinity and femininity. For some, they believe that men should be aggressive, but for some cultures, men should be polite. So we can say that it is the culture that defines gender, and it creates differences between both sexes. And if we talk about the socialization process, we can see that there are several agents of socialization, including the family, peers, schools, mass media, and religion. All these agents help individuals to develop their gender identity, that is either men or women, and then it carves certain gender roles for both sexes. That is, men should learn how to take care of their family by earning, and women should take care of their children. From the very beginning, kids learn their gender roles through family, and later other secondary agents strengthen their identity. From the very beginning, boys learn how to behave like their fathers, and girls are trained to behave according to the set patterns of the culture. So that is how our society, our culture is trying to shape different gender roles. The debate about either it is nature or it is nurture that is trying to shape certain gender roles is very controversial in nature. So you need to understand this aspect in both ways. we have already discussed about how biology interprets gender and how culture interprets gender. So now it is your part, and you need to come up with your idea that either it is the nature or the nurture that shapes certain gender roles. Do comment in the section below and tell me what you think about either it's your biology or it's your culture that is trying to shape certain gender roles. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel.